For more than 100 years, the Panama Canal has stood as a marvel of engineering and a vital artery for global maritime trade, seamlessly linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Its strategic location has made it indispensable, allowing ships to bypass the perilous and time-consuming route around the tip of South America. By providing a shortcut through Central America, the canal has spared countless vessels from the treacherous waters and unpredictable weather of Cape Horn, saving both time and lives. Each year, the canal handles an astonishing $270 billion in cargo, moving everything from consumer goods to raw materials. Its smooth, uninterrupted operation has long been a cornerstone of the global supply chain, so reliable that many barely gave it a second thought. But today, that sense of certainty has been shattered. An unprecedented drought, driven by shifting climate patterns, has caused water levels in the canal's crucial lakes to drop to historic lows, forcing authorities to impose strict limits on the number and size of ships allowed through. The consequences have been immediate and severe. Massive backlogs, shipping delays stretching for weeks, and skyrocketing costs for shipping companies. Between late 2023 and 2024, vessel transits plummeted by nearly a third, sending shockwaves through global markets. This crisis has laid bare just how vulnerable the world's trade networks are when so much depends on a single, weather-dependent choke point. The ripple effects are being felt far beyond Panama, impacting industries and consumers worldwide. Suddenly, the search for alternative routes and solutions is no longer a distant concern. It's an urgent priority for governments, shipping companies, and global businesses alike. In response, ambitious new projects are being proposed and fast-tracked, many of them backed by China, aiming to create new pathways and challenge Panama's long-standing dominance in global shipping. As the world watches closely, the very map of global trade is poised for dramatic transformation, with the future of international commerce hanging in the balance. In Nicaragua, an old dream is being revived, a vision that has captured imaginations for over a century. The idea of a canal cutting through this Central American nation, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, has long been seen as a way to transform Nicaragua's fortunes and reshape global trade. Now that dream is taking on new life, as Nicaragua sets its sights on building a canal to rival Panama, the legendary waterway that has dominated shipping routes for over 100 years. President Ortega's ambitious 2024 plan envisions a 445-kilometer waterway, significantly longer and potentially wider than Panama's, stretching from Bluefields on the Caribbean coast to Puerto Corinto on the Pacific. The route would utilize Lake Managua, also known as Lake Solotlan, as a natural corridor, reducing excavation and construction costs while creating new economic opportunities for the region. This new initiative replaces a failed, controversial project once led by the HKND Group, which collapsed amid protests and financial uncertainty. Now, with China directly involved, the project has gained renewed momentum and international attention. At the recent China-Latin America Business Summit, Nicaragua signed a landmark agreement with Chinese state-owned CAMC Engineering. This deal paves the way for the construction of a crucial Atlantic port, a key component in making the canal a reality and opening Nicaragua to global commerce. With China's financial and technical backing, the proposed canal could accommodate the world's largest container ships, vessels too big for the current Panama Canal, offering a compelling and modern alternative for international shipping companies. For global shipping, this means a second competing route between the Atlantic and Pacific. The new canal could help lower transportation costs, ease congestion, and reduce the risks associated with relying on a single passageway. But this project is about more than just engineering feats. It's a bold geopolitical move. With China poised to reshape trade in the Americas, the canal could shift the balance of economic power and influence across the Western Hemisphere. If completed, the Nicaraguan canal could redraw not only shipping lanes, but also the very dynamics of global trade and power for decades to come. While Nicaragua looks to water, Mexico is betting on rails. The interoceanic corridor of the Isthmus of Tehuantepec, or CIIT, is a $50 billion project linking Pacific and Atlantic ports via a modern high-speed rail corridor. Instead of ships, containers will cross the isthmus by train in hours, not days. Upgraded ports, new pipelines, and digital infrastructure will support this rapid transit. Construction began in 2023, with the first phase set to finish by 2025. Chinese investment and expertise are central, signaling Beijing's commitment to new trade routes in the Americas. The CIIT could outpace canal routes for high-value, time-sensitive cargo, directly challenging the U.S. land bridge. Mexico's land bridge is a bold bet on speed, efficiency, and strategic location. China's involvement in Nicaragua and Mexico is no accident. It's part of the Belt and Road Initiative, Beijing's global infrastructure strategy. By building new trade routes in Latin America, China reduces its dependence on US-controlled choke points like the Panama Canal. These projects secure China's economic future and expand its influence in a region long dominated by the United States. Billions in Chinese financing and construction contracts make Beijing an indispensable partner for Latin American nations. This economic leverage translates into diplomatic clout and access to resources. Chinese state-owned firms win lucrative contracts, while Chinese banks provide the funding, reinforcing China's global reach. The Nicaraguan and Mexican corridors are clear signs of China's ambition to reshape global trade infrastructure. The stakes are high. These projects could cement China's role as a central player in the Western Hemisphere. Each route, Panama, Nicaragua, and Mexico, offers distinct advantages and drawbacks. As global shipping volumes continue to rise and supply chains become more complex, the stakes for choosing the right interoceanic passage have never been higher. The world is watching closely as these three options compete to become the preferred gateway between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The Panama Canal is proven and reliable, a marvel of engineering that has served as the backbone of maritime trade for over a century. Yet, its dependence on rainfall makes it increasingly vulnerable to climate change, with recent droughts causing delays and raising concerns about long-term sustainability. The canal's capacity is also being tested as ships grow larger and global demand intensifies. Nicaragua's proposed canal promises unprecedented scale, designed to accommodate the world's largest ships and potentially transform the region's economy. However, the project faces massive financial and environmental hurdles, including concerns about displacing communities, damaging sensitive ecosystems, and securing the enormous investment required to bring the vision to life. Mexico's CIIT, or Interoceanic Corridor, offers a different approach: speed and lower construction costs, making it ideal for high-value, time-sensitive goods. By using rail to bridge the gap between oceans, it bypasses the need for a new canal. However, it requires double handling of cargo, which can add complexity, and faces ongoing security challenges along the route. Shippers will ultimately choose based on their cargo and priorities. Bulk goods, like grain or oil, may stick with traditional canals, while electronics, auto parts, and other time-sensitive products could favor Mexico's faster rail connection. The choice will depend on balancing cost, speed, and reliability. The emergence of these rivals means Panama must adapt to a new era of competition. Investments in modernization, water management, and efficiency will be crucial if it hopes to maintain its leadership in global shipping. For global trade, this competition could mean lower costs, more options, and greater resilience in the face of disruptions. Shippers and consumers alike stand to benefit from a more flexible and robust network. The monopoly is over. The race for the best route is on. Each contender brings unique strengths and faces distinct challenges, setting the stage for a new chapter in maritime history. The future of interoceanic transit will be shaped by price, efficiency, and reliability. As the world's needs evolve, so too will the routes that connect our oceans and drive global commerce forward. Grand ambitions face daunting risks. Nicaragua's canal could devastate rainforests, wetlands, and Lake Coca-Cola, sparking fierce environmental opposition. Its $50 billion price tag and lack of transparent funding raise doubts about financial viability. Mexico's CIIT must contend with organized crime, social unrest, and the challenge of securing a 300-kilometer corridor. Both projects risk protests from local and indigenous communities who may be displaced or left out of the benefits. Execution is a massive challenge, requiring political will, technical expertise, and social consensus. Delays, cost overruns, or instability could derail these nation-shaping projects. The path from blueprint to reality is long and fraught with obstacles. The rise of new routes in Nicaragua and Mexico, powered by Chinese investment, marks a turning point in global trade. For the first time in a century, the Panama Canal faces real competition. Shippers will soon have choices, forcing all routes to innovate and improve. This competition could lower shipping costs, boost supply chain resilience, and reduce the risks of relying on a single choke point. But it also signals a geopolitical shift. With China challenging U.S. influence in Latin America, these projects are more than infrastructure, they're symbols of changing power. The future of global trade hangs in the balance. If these new corridors succeed, they'll reshape commerce and alliances for decades. The world is watching as the tides of trade begin to shift.